Hi.
How's it
Yes,
going?
that's working. Going good. How are you?
Oh, thank you.
You're one busy guy.
Well, try to be.
Yes. Well, I certainly appreciate you talking to me on here and
Sure.
getting on a call. Um, when did you start singing?
I had never played any music. I grew up in a sort of musicless environment. My home, my folks, listened to the news on the radio, and um, nobody. My father was a bull rider for a living, and then became a stunt man. So um, there wasn't a lot of artistic value flowing through the hallways at my house.
Yes.
And and I all of my family were all stunt people. My sister, my mother, my uncles, my cousins. So it was
Oh,
just a given that I was probably going to be doing stunts.
you
And
were going to do that.
um I wanted to be a professional cowboy when I was growing up, and following my father's footsteps. And as time went on, the work never really went away.
Yeah.
At a certain point when I was about 17, I did a movie with Rutger Hauer called The Hitcher, and it was with Jennifer Jason Leigh and Jeffrey DeMunn, and they were all award-winning actors. And it was my first lead, really. I'd done a few ensembles, and that experience taught me that I wanted to do this for the rest of my life, because up until then, I still wanted to do a cowboy, and I still wanted to be a cowboy, and I was just kind of working to get myself uh, a leg up amongst the competition, a better truck, a
Right.
faster horse, a bigger trailer, just to get down the road. And um, when I did the Hitcher, I really had to kind of commit to uh, the craft and teaching myself, and studying a little bit, and
Mhm.
choice of whether or not I really wanted to continue doing that. And my whole life I was drawn to musicians, and I loved music, and would marvel at people that could sit down and play the guitar. And um
Mhm.
I'd say, I guess it was 2020 when COVID hit. My business really shut down, and of course the whole world shut down. And
Yes.
a few weeks into it, once we realized it wasn't really going away, I ordered my first guitar, and I sat down and I started picking away and trying to learn a few chords and writing down a few words. And I realized that I had a knack for writing songs, and having spent 40 years in this sort of 2-hour format of telling stories, transitioned pretty easily into a 2-minute format. And
Yes.
I realized that there was a lot of similarities
Mhm.
with film and songwriting. And it all boils down to storytelling. And it what I loved about it was I could remove the character, and I could be myself on stage
Yes.
and connect with people as Tommy Howell, and not necessarily as Pony Boy, or the Reaper or whatever. But the value that came with songwriting for me um, was a discovery that I wasn't really expecting, and being able to tell my story in between songs was also something that resonated with an audience that I had no intention um, or an understanding that
Yes.
would be important to people. And the beauty of talking about a film experience, whether it's E.T. or The Outsiders or Red Dawn or The Amazing Spider-Man or whatever, um,
Right.
people tend to really connect and reminisce and remember who they were with and when they were there and how it made them
Yes.
feel. So many people say, "Oh my God, The Outsiders! I cried so hard. My girlfriend and I, we blah blah blah," or that was the first time I went on a date, or my mother dropped me off at that place and I went in by myself. And so many stories go along with wherever people connected with me, and uh,
Yes.
oh my God, I saw you on Criminal Minds, and I can't believe Ponyboy could be, an evil serial
Yeah.
killer. and I love you so much, but I hated you for that. And um, being able to share those moments on stage when I'm performing is excuse the pun, but it's gold. It's like
Yeah.
people really appreciate it, and that's not something that I understood until I started doing it. And
Right.
I fell in love with performing and writing songs, and moved to Nashville. And I just finished my second album, and Take the Reins drops the 13th, and that's my first single. Well, actually, my first single was a song called Gentleman Jack that came out over the holidays. Unexpectedly, I didn't really plan on
Yes.
releasing it, and a friend of mine leaked it to a couple radio stations, and it just slowly started to blow up. And
Yeah.
we started looking at the charts and realizing, oh my God, we're in the top 15 this week, and we're ahead of Dolly Parton and names like Luke Combs and Stapleton and Morgan Wallen. And I was shocked. I was shocked that people were actually responding to this little song that I had no intention of even releasing as a single, that came out because it was a holiday song, and people really connected with it. And we backed that up with another song, "Take the Reins," which is sort of a ballad about a guy that's an old cowboy living on a ranch that's kind of passing on what his legacy to somebody else. And
Mm.
um, that song for me was really personal, and another discovery that I made: the more personal I can make my work, whether I'm acting or writing music, the more universal it becomes. And people tend to really connect with that. And I was really excited to be able to again, my intention was to lead with something else. And music and film too.
Yeah.
Art in particular is a living biological creature, and it tends to find its own path. Movies
Yeah.
tend to make themselves, songs tend to write themselves. And be it good, be it bad, whatever the lesson is that comes with these experiences, uh, it it's all for a good purpose. There's lessons, there's successes, there's failures, but you know those are our teachers. The only
Right.
time we fail is when we quit. If something isn't successful, we continue until it is successful. I mean, at least
Bounce back and
that's how I was taught. It's
yeah.
just once you stop and quit, that's when you fail.
Yes.
Something doesn't succeed at first, it doesn't mean that you're not going to succeed in life. It just means that either it was the wrong time. There's a bigger picture here that you're not quite aware of yet, and that is what has propelled me and constantly inspired me. I love a good challenge, and nobody in their right mind at the age of 55 would have started a new career, especially singing. I mean, it's
Many
something that,
interests, many talents.
well, I wasn't smart enough to know better, I guess. I also don't really have anything to prove. I don't need fame, and I don't need money, so I'm just following my heart. And
I was gonna say your heart's in it and the passion that you have for it, and
uh,
just like I say, the authenticity. I know I've said it before, but that's what it's just the genuine, pure, and like
listen,
watching
that's
that song
because there's
video.
actors turned singers have not made it easy for me. I could people that are going to see this or read this will be rolling their eyes, going, "Oh my God, not another one." But you know, I think a lot of people come to my show bringing their daughter to get a picture of Pony Boy, and they leave with a copy of my album and a new name to add to their playlist. And a lot of, in particularly fathers, turn into fans of my music. My music is in general, it tends to be a little edgy. It's whiskey and guns, and people die, and there's some love stories occasionally, but it's pretty edgy, my stuff. And it's kind of outlaw country, maybe a little bit of southern rock. I don't really know what category I'd fall into, but living in Nashville, I've been able to surround myself with some pretty cool people that I've learned a lot from. And I recorded my second album, which is slowly being released now, at the Johnny Cash Cabin, where,
Yeah.
you know,
Cool.
Johnny and June recorded their stuff,
Yeah.
and Retta Lynn and Merle Haggard and Tanya Tucker and the most incredible people ever. So I'm singing
Wow.
into a mic that Merle Haggard used, or I'm
Yeah.
plugging into an
Kind of
amp at
feel kind of surreal
like
in a
Carl Per.
way.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm at the age now where I can appreciate it, so I can fanboy a little bit, and I can focus and do some good work. And it's just been an amazing time, and I feel kind of blessed because the music has really given me the freedom to focus less on the roles that I shouldn't play, instead of worrying about paying bills and things like that. I
Oh,
think
very
a lot
therapeutic.
a lot of performers are forced to do things at times that they probably shouldn't do. But, and again, there's lessons that come with that. But
Right.
music, music
The
has freed me.
roads we travel.
Yeah, music has freed me up and given me the opportunity to not have to do that. I mean, I don't have to do any movies anymore if I don't want. But um, that being said, acting has made me a better performer on stage as a singer, and singing has made me a better actor. So it kind of goes hand in hand, really.
Kind of brought that aspect to it and just
Yeah.
continued the trend. And I know the depth and just the simplicity and the purity, and just watching the video with the song, it's definitely, it has, I mean, it feels, you can feel and see, and it hits all of the factors, I think.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you taking a look at it and watching
Yes.
it. And it's I think at times difficult for people to you get locked into one thing, and it's hard for people to loosen the reins. Like back in the day, you could be a triple threat, a singer, an actor, and a dancer. And today you're kind of one thing, and it's hard to break through. And
Yeah.
there are some younger people that are phenomenal singers slash actors, and the Selena Gomez's and Ariana Grande's, and these young girls that come from Disney that have put a lot
Amazing
of work
talent.
into. Yeah, they're incredible. Miley Cyrus, she's amazing. But I I and again, I'm walking on eggs here. I don't know how deep their acting skills are. I know it's stuff for Disney,
Yeah.
sort of a kid show, but I'm proud of the fact that I know I have value and weight in both fields. I think uh,
Right.
I can be considered serious as an actor as well as a songwriter and performer, even though most people aren't aware of that. And that's part of my journey now. To what degree is that important for me to ring that dinner bell and be like, "Hey
Yeah.
guys, come watch a show." And uh, we opened up for Leonard Skinner last year. We opened up for Tanya
Cool.
Tucker, for Larry Gatlin.
Awesome.
So I'm like, my experiences are not just one of going down to the local bar. I'm playing in front of 15
Right.
people, and it's been pretty mind blowing, really.
Yes, I can imagine. You looks like you're busy with your schedule of all of the events I keep seeing coming up, and so you get
Yeah,
to go out and travel and enjoy. And
traveling around a little bit and gonna have some screenings and some, a lot of people. Like for example, we're going to go to the Outsiders House Museum and screen The Outsiders, and
yeah,
that's sold out in a day and a half, and I
Yeah.
just didn't anticipate really. Again, we put the tickets up months in advance, and it literally was sold out in 48 hours. And they
Yeah.
added another day, and that sold out again in 48 hours, and I was just
Right.
absolutely.
Like, you just have inspired people for many years just through each
Well, I also enjoy it.
event.
I think a lot of it is just coming and making, just having a good time, and appreciating each other. And um, I hope I never become jaded in that way. And when I see artists that aren't happy with themselves, but participating in events like that, it makes me mad. I feel like if you don't have 2 seconds to say hi, or I not that I need to name names, but I remember one time I saw an extremely famous young lady at a restaurant, and this little 10-year-old girl was just dying
Oh
to
yeah.
eat her. And her father kept saying, no, no, not yet, not yet. And I had left the restaurant, and I was with my children, and we went and got a scoop of ice cream. We were walking across the parking lot, and here we saw this little girl with her dad, and she was just jumping up and down. And she wanted to go talk to this young lady. And I was kind of watching what was going on. And she went up there, and I was in, close enough range I could hear everything. And she begged, oh my gosh, I love you so much. Please, can we take a picture together? And the person literally turned to the young lady that she was with and pointed, and she said, deal with this, and turned and walked away. And the little girl was mortally crushed, just like
Yeah.
wounded. And it affected me so deeply, because it doesn't take but a half a second to
No.
make somebody feel important. And I really like to look people in the eye when I shake their hand. I like to acknowledge them, whether I'm at a Comic-Con or at a screening, or we're at a parking lot, and somebody says something to me about my work. I appreciate them for that moment, and it means a lot for me to have that exchange. So, you know, we
What
both
does your
walk
heart good?
we both walk away feeling good if
Yes.
we can make that connection. So somebody has the courage to acknowledge something that I've done, and then
Yeah.
I have the respect to acknowledge the fact that they have not only seen something that I have done, but recognized me and shared that moment with me, and we
Yeah.
both walk away feeling great. And I can't tell you how many times I'll read something online or on one of my threads where somebody will say, "Oh my God, I'm gonna go meet Pony Boy at the Outsiders
Yeah.
house, May or March 30th," and then somebody will say, "I met him once, and he's one of the nicest people I ever met." I,
Your
I
legacy.
well, it blows my mind that people would be anything but that,
Right.
and
Yeah, that's
it's
just not your
it's
nature.
it's such a
Yeah,
missed opportunity for so many people.
they miss
You
out on a lot.
you can really help a young person with their own self-esteem in a 30-second period and change somebody's life with a hug or a smile or a high five or a selfie. And it's no skin off my nose. It doesn't slow my day down. It doesn't cost me money. It doesn't change anything in a negative way for me. And to know that there are people out there that would approach it in any other way, makes me mad. It's selfish, and it's it's what we don't need on this planet right now.
Right. The more, well, it's like you can't spread that joy and that inspiration and the happiness and positive vibes without getting some on yourself. It's
A
like
hundred
it all
percent.
comes back around.
And it rolls downhill. Like,
Yeah.
you make me happy, I make my wife happy, my wife makes her kid happy, her kid makes their friend happy, their friend makes their mom happy, their mom makes their dad happy. It has such
Right.
power. And
Yeah.
um
It's
when you break,
contagious.
when you break a heart, um it it has the negative effect, because it
Yes.
doesn't take long for somebody to go online and say, oh my God, I met that person and they were so horrible to me. And it continues, it's like the rock in the pond, the ripples don't just stay where the rock went in. I mean, it literally at the end of it, it's reaching the edges of the pond, and
Yes.
the fact that people don't understand um, their own self empowerment
Right.
by sharing with other people is is really frustrating
Yeah,
for
they
me.
miss out on a lot of good in the world.
No question, no
I think,
question.
yeah, because I can't imagine not, being it helps light that fire and it's contagious and it thrives and joy brings joy and it's I don't know. I think
Yeah,
that's what
I
makes
just feel
everyone resonate with you so well and you've been so good to your fans and everybody. You're just a genuine though. It's
well.
just
I
that way.
appreciate that. I appreciate that, and
It's not, it's where you really want to and you enjoy it.
it's how I would like to be treated.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
what a lot of it probably boils down to, You have
no,
that heart of gold, for lack of better words, but
that's it.
it's true.
That gold.
That gold,
Yeah,
you did stay gold, huh?
yeah. I had a lot of help along the way, but there's been some. I feel very lucky and blessed, and we're still going. I've got a series on Netflix right now called Obliterated, and when
Okay.
it came out, it was number one in the world for about 3 or 4 weeks, and um,
Nice.
top 10 in the United States for a couple months, and it's just uh, things like that you don't really anticipate, and I go into every project without any expectations, mainly because expectations are rarely met, but
Yeah.
um, I do my best on whatever it is I'm working on, and I hope for the best.
And it seems to land there, and you've made excellent choices, I would say. And I know the road, I'm sure, hasn't been easy through the process. There's times
Definitely
that,
ups and downs, definitely ups and downs in life. But
yeah,
I think for the most part, um, I think the statistics of uh, child actors having a lifelong career are pretty low numbers.
yeah,
So it wasn't like I went to school to study acting and then finally made it after I graduated and became something. I was working at the age of 10 years old, and uh,
mm,
I'm 57, so I have almost 50 years in the business, and it's been good to me.
yeah, that's awesome. What a blessing.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes. Well, so was your dad upset that you didn't go into the other type of business?
I think stunt business is real nepotistic business, and most stunt men raise their young boy up to take their position. And my father couldn't be more proud of me, but he definitely lost his right arm. He lost his right hand,
Yeah.
and I think there were moments there that we both acknowledged uh, that that was difficult because of the time misspent together.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But
hard life, I'm sure,
he
being
couldn't
away
be
like that.
me and the work that I do, and he calls me when he sees a performance, and I can just I hear from people all the time. Oh, I met your father. He talked about you for 20 minutes, and you know
Yeah.
I, and I'm the same. My father had me when he was really young. My father was only 19 when he had me, so he's been a very dear friend of mine my whole life, and the age gap was pretty close. I mean,
Yes.
he was 39 when I was 20. That's not
Not a
it's a
whole
big
lot of
deal.
difference the way the world, yeah.
When you're 19 and you're one, that's a big difference. But when you're 20 and somebody's 39, that's like, you want to go hang out on a Friday night. You know what I mean?
a lot
it's
of
a,
life experiences you're probably going through at that stage that
yeah,
resemble, and you know.
yeah. And we're, you know, he's one, you know, he's probably my best friend, my father, you know, and I feel like there was definitely time missed, but we still hang out together. We still ride horses together, and you know, talk projects, and we want to you know, he was a stunt coordinator on, man, so many of my projects,
Mm.
and from that aspect, we spent a lot of time together. I was just in a different position, you know. I wasn't following
Right, you had other things going on.
building on fire. You know, I was sitting in a director's chair, kind of
Right.
watching.
You were
So
playing it safe and he's over here doing
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's kind of like my house on Thanksgiving. You know, everybody gets together and says, "Would the sissy boy pass the gravy?" You know, and I'm
Aw.
like,
Well, it wouldn't be right if they didn't tease you about it, right?
"Of course, of
You know,
course,
and that's how you know you're loved a lot of times.
100%. I would have it no other way."
It's like, yes, if they're not teasing me, something's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Well, that's awesome. I'm happy you get to still enjoy him. That's a
yeah,
huge, tremendous blessing there for sure.
yeah. That's you know, I'm not ready to lose my father. You know, that's going to be a tough time when that comes around.
That's probably one of my hardest times in life was losing mine.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was just,
and we all go
that's
through.
your hero. That's you
I
just think
hope
they're
I go
always going
through
to be
that
there.
versus he goes through losing his son. You know, I mean, I'd much
Yeah.
rather experience me losing him. But
Right.
you
It's
know,
just
it's we laugh
not,
about that. We laugh about that, and you know, my father rode bulls for 10 years for a living and became a stuntman. I mean, in his heart, he didn't think he'd live to be 40. You know, and
yeah, that's not a real safe business to be in at all.
he's 70 now and still going. So I
Yeah.
feel like he cheated life a little bit there.
Yeah. So, true
Yeah,
blessing to get to enjoy him and have him
yeah,
there. And yes.
exactly. Well, I appreciate your time, and
Yes.
you come up, say hello on the 30th, okay?
Yes, definitely. I look forward to coming to the screening. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And you guys have a great evening.
Bye now.
Bye. Take care.